the Diva Cup. Ooh. Now, what is the Diva Cup? I'm assuming if you're clicking on this channel, it is because you maybe already know what it is. However, you might be a loyal supporter and you might just be clicking on it because you're like, oh, you have a new video. Let me see what this is about. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the Diva Cup. The Diva Cup is, so the Diva Cup, in fact, I'm just going to read it to you from the back of the box. The Diva Cup is an economical, eco-friendly, leak-free way to experience total period comfort. Now let's just be real. There is no such thing as total period comfort. But they're trying though. The Diva Cup is ultra hygienic, comfortable, convenient, wearable for up to 12 hours at a time, 100% medical grade silicone with no latex or dyes, rubbers, plastic, or BPA. It's reusable, economical, eco-friendly, made in Canada. So yeah, so the Diva Cups, Model 1, there's Model 2. Now, if you are under the age of 18, I highly recommend you speak with your parent, legal guardian, or a trusted, mature sibling over the age of 21 years old. Okay, now Model 0 is if you are new to the world of periods and you are 18 years or younger. Model 1 is between ages of 19 and 30. Model 2 is if you are at the age of 30 or have a heavier menstrual flow, and this is what it looks like. Now it's so funny because I had no idea prior to using the Diva Cup just exactly how much blood we lost during our menstrual cycle. So I remember thinking like, this is it for 12 hours? Like, are you sure? It comes with a book of instructions. I'm sure frequently asked questions, tips, suggestions, all that jazz, and a little baggie to keep it in. So this is what they give you to keep it in, and the booklet. Okay, so I used my very first Diva Cup, February 2017, and the duo that I purchased was Model 1, and it also came with the Diva Wash. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. The Diva Cup with the wash came out to $39.48 on Amazon after tax. Now keep in mind the Diva Cup is also sold, I have found it at select Walmarts. I haven't looked anywhere else. Amazon is my spot, so if I can, I buy everything on Amazon. Now, something which I will kind of circle back around in, this is why I got confused, in September 2017, I bought an off-brand silicone cup. It was Blossom. It was their large menstrual cup. That was the name of the brand, and it was $16.95. Now, like with any new up-and-coming thing, you have the brand, and then you have smaller brands that make the same thing for a cheaper price. So first of all, disclosure about me is I'm a little extra. I like to have more than one thing. I can't just have one thing that I'm solely reliant on. So I didn't want to spend another 40 bucks or 30 bucks to get 2 Diva Cups. So I decided to get my Diva Cup and then get a cheaper version. Another thing too, since it was my first time, I wanted to make sure what I used was like legit. So I didn't want to risk it buying something for $16, $17 and just having all kind of leakage issues. Now I will say, again, that was in 2017, we're now in 2019, and I haven't had any leakage problems with either of the cups. Like both of them work completely fine. It was how a typical day works for me with the Diva Cup is, of course, this does depend on how heavy your flow is. I consider myself pretty regular, have my period every 28 days. I usually start the day that I'm projected to start according to my app, and I usually last anywhere from 3 to 5 days. So I have to work at 6 a.m. So I wake up around 4 something in the morning. I know you're like, why do you need to write notes about this? But listen, child, as you get older, your mind. Okay, so I wake up around 4 something in the morning. We'll say between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. Shower, put my cup in. Then after I do that, I go on about my day. I work out on my lunch break, which is usually between 9:30 and 11:30. I know that's a big range, but my lunch break is 1 hour. So let's say we'll say 10 o'clock. Let's say I go to the gym at 10 o'clock, 10 to about 10:45, and then I have 15 minutes to shower and get ready. So the gym is the gym is attached to my building, blah, blah, blah. That's not important. So I shower, get dressed again, and go on about my day without having to remove the cup. And then by the time I get home, it's about 3:30, 3:15, 3:30, and then I don't have to like right away, but within the hour of me being home, I take a shower, switch my cup out, go on about my day. So that's a typical process of me with the cup. Now, randomly, I will have extremely heavy cycles. And on those days, and I know you're like, well, how do you know? I don't know. I'm not explaining that to you how you know. You just kind of know. And it doesn't happen to me often. Usually if I'm eating really bad, I can just kind of feel that I'm going to have a bad cycle or a heavy cycle. So what I usually always do is I put a panty liner when on my first or second day of my cycle, depending on what time of day I start, just to make sure I don't have any leakage issues. And if I see any leak at all when I shower in the middle of the day, then I change my cup. Now, obviously, we don't all have circumstances where we can shower in the middle of the day. That is just not, that's just not how it works. So we'll take out my midday shower, and we'll say, going on about my day, and I notice a little bit of leakage. Now, you can change your cup in the middle of the day. You can do that. What I would recommend doing is just taking a couple paper towels in there with you in the stall. Let's say, obviously, we'll say you're in a public place, because it can be slightly messy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's the only con with the cup, is it can be messy depending on how you insert it. So what you would do is you would take it out, pour it out in the toilet, fold it, put it back up there, and then that's why you have your paper towels, because you wipe off your little fingers. I know my nail broke. You wipe off your little fingers, then you go out, wash your hands, and you're good to go. Now, how you insert the cup. Here's the cup. Okay, so you can see how big the cup is. This is my finger. So you, with 3 fingers, and with nails, yes, you can still use the cup. So you squeeze. Okay, hold on. You squeeze, then you fold like a taco. Okay, so this is how you insert the cup. So your goal is to make this part as small as possible. Okay, so then you stick it up there, and then it literally does that. You can feel it suctioning to your walls, I guess. I don't know what you call that. Like I said, this is extremely uncomfortable. And then you're good to go. If you feel it, so you're gonna feel it, but you shouldn't feel it. That makes sense. Okay, I'll give you an example. If you wear tampons and it's not in there far enough, you know how you can feel it and it's a little uncomfortable? And if you stick it further up there, then you don't feel it. That same thing. So I will say most of the time it's hard to not put it all the way up there. You can usually pretty easily stick it all the way up there. When I was first using it, I was having some trouble. So one of my friends that uses the Diva Cup recommended I first try it while laying down on the ground with my back to the ground. So I tried that the first couple times and that was fine. Now I can easily put it in the shower. So I kind of just squat, or I get all the way down. I'm not going to do it on camera. Nice try though. And then like I mentioned, bam, bam, stick it up, boop, and it does that. And you're good to go. This is, like they mentioned, it's supposed to be non-BPA free, non-silicone. And let's just be honest, it can't be any worse than tampons that you stick up there, because there's all these articles about how they're bad for you. they have. There's only so much we can do in this world to protect ourselves. So we have to be reasonable, realistic. But I love this, again, for the convenience as well. I work out a lot. In the summer, I swim a lot. So when I'm at a friend's house, before I go, jump in the shower, get all freshened up, I can swim all night, don't have to worry about it. But it should be 12 hours for the average cycle. As long as you're not extremely heavy, it should be 12 hours. If you notice that you have to change it less than 12 hours, that's fine. But whatever time frame that is, like let's say yours is 10 hours. You might have to either A, go to a larger cup, or B, change it more frequently. So because I don't want to have to change it more frequently, I just went ahead and purchased the cup 2, which I'll probably use for my first 2 days. And then my 3rd day, if I need to, I'll just switch to the other one. Now, another thing I wanted to mention that's extremely important for those of you watching your coins. Now, I got a hard to mention, which I kind of mentioned earlier and I told you I would circle back, is the second cup that I purchased was $16.95 and the brand was Blossom. Now, if you just want to see how it works for you, I would recommend using a cheaper brand. And really, even if you just want to use this brand, it was totally fine. It had absolutely no issues and it was way cheaper. So I will be sure to post these links below for the Diva Cup, for the Blossom brand that I've tried. And when I was trying to find this information to talk to you guys about it, just to recap, I saw a lot of other brands on there. Now, the third thing I wanted to mention before I wrap up is the Diva Wash. I'm sure there might be other brands, other companies that have cheaper wash, but I just like this one. A, because it's plant-based. So not only can you use it to wash your cup, but you can also wash, you know. Yeah, so it's plant-based. No issues, no drama. It's supposed to not affect your pH at all. If you don't know what pH is, honey, do your research. It's going to be too long of a video for me to tell you about pH. But it's supposed to be naturally pH balanced because it's also plant-based. I almost forgot. How do you wash and sanitize your cup? Like I mentioned before, I have a glass container, and I'll explain why it's glass in 2.5 seconds, that I would keep both of my cups in. Let's say period's all done. Even though I've been washing the cups in between use with my plant-based soap, I always would sanitize my cup after every cycle. Now, how I would sanitize my cup is I would throw both of the cups in my glass container. This is why I use glass. I would boil some water and I would put a little Dawn soap and then a splash of vinegar, white vinegar. If you don't know about white vinegar, honey, do your research. White vinegar is amazing for cleaning and it's natural. So I'll put a splash of white vinegar in there with my Dawn soap, and I would pour the hot water in my glass container, wait for it to cool off a little bit, and then I would just, you know. Now, because the Diva Cup was clear, if I noticed any discoloration, the white vinegar would get rid of that discoloration, which I never actually ended up having. It could be because of the deep cleanings that I was doing in between my cycles. I don't know. So that was never an issue. And if for some reason you notice your Diva Cup getting discolored, then by all means soak it in some vinegar. Or do some research. I know Diva Cup has a lot of question and answers. They even have a 1-800 number that you can call and just let them know, hey, it's discolored, what am I doing wrong? So that's all I have, guys. I know I was talking really fast. I had a lot to talk about in a short period of time. If you have any questions or you think of anything, be sure to drop it below. If I have an enormous amount of questions, by all means, I will do a part 2 to the video. But thank you guys again, as always, for watching. Don't forget, my channel is hair, health, and beauty. So look for all of those videos. And make sure you guys check me out on Instagram at Hairvolutions, and make sure you guys subscribe, comment, leave something sweet below. Thank you guys for watching.